Where's that music, Dave?
Where is that music? I know. It's funny, like you talk about like different roles that you do. I've noticed that when I'm with people one-on-one now and in social situations, I'm tending to become like more chill.
I feel like you've always been chill. I
Well,
mean,
I
you've
don't
gotten more
talk as
chill.
I think I don't talk as much. And then when it comes to like being on stage or presenting or being on a live stream, it's like that's when I'm talking.
Yeah, right.
Or negotiating on the real estate side. But when it's seems like more when I'm one-on-one or even at networking events, Kasie, I found that
Mhm.
like kind of just sit there and listen more.
Look at you listening and not talking.
No, don't tell anybody that I might be growing up, right?
Dave
We
3.0
don't say.
in the making.
What's up, Big B? Brother Brandon, good to see you this morning. Brandon is total badass. He's going to be on the show either next week or the week after. Kasie, I met Brandon through the Schaumburg Business Association.
Cool.
And yeah, he's a leader. He totally nerds out on personal development. And
Yeah.
he's a really, really good listener. And I always appreciate being around him. Elena,
Yeah.
good morning. So Elena is COTA/L and LMT. Do you know what that means, Kasie?
Isn't an LMT something with therapy? Licensed marriage therapy?
I don't think it's marriage,
Um,
but I say that because you have a lot of letters after your.
yeah. I don't know what CODA means. Elena, do you wanna let us know what your letters mean?
So I know Elena's been doing stretches and massage therapy for corporate events and going into companies and giving them a break. Also, she does a live event once a month where everybody comes on and we do stretches.
Awesome. I love that. I've been trying to make stretching more of a routine. It's funny because my day job still is coach for physical therapy. And I tell people to do their stretches literally every single day and I'm awful with it. I need to take my own advice.
Right?
Yep. I,
Hey, Jack Butita is on. I know Jack. Lunch today with the mayor of Elk Grove Networking. Oh, I love Elk Grove Village. Elk Grove Village was like my stomping grounds when I first started in sales. And I still have a love for that industrial park, and I appreciate how they're rebuilding it and they're adding more on there. Today we're actually broadcasting. It's pretty cool. We'll start in a couple minutes, but you see here I'm jamming with Kasie, and we'll share our story of how we met,
yeah.
which is kind of cool. But today is cool. Like I'm actually broadcasting on Twitch, on my YouTube channel, and on LinkedIn all at the same time. And it's like, you know what? Welcome to 2022. Remember
Yep.
those? Remember those days, Kasie, when we were nervous about putting our credit card in to like buy something online?
Yep. Yep.
Oh, oh no, this isn't going to take off. Oh no, this isn't going to be good. Yeah, okay.
I think it was like that with some socials too, like Facebook. You're like, what the heck is Facebook? MySpace is the thing, you know? Or God, what was another one?
Oh, how about the AOL chat rooms and the news groups?
I miss IMs. That's just something you don't really do anymore online. You have to email
Yeah,
or text.
yeah, it's different.
Yeah, unless you're part of like Slack or Teams with a company. But what if you just want to like be on the computer and IM your friends?
Yeah, yeah. It's almost like there's too much now, right? It's kind of
Right.
distracting. Let's get back to the simple. Oh, good. So Elena says, sure. COTAL stands for Certified Occupational Therapy Assistant.
Mm,
License, and LMT is for Licensed Massage Therapist. Love that.
awesome.
And oh yeah, there is Kathy Facenda. So she owns Exercise Coach
Okay.
in
Yeah.
Schaumburg, and it's super cool. So yeah, we're gonna give it another minute here, And then Kasie's going to start us off with an epic quote for the week. And of course, thank you all for joining us on this Thankful Thursday. We appreciate you investing and sharing the next half hour, 45 minutes with, can't see my, with us. Oh, I love it. So yeah, thank you all for being here. We'll give it another minute. I'm going to turn on a little more of a jam here, and then, yeah, we will get started. You got your coffee and everything, Kasie?
Yeah, so it's not actually coffee. It is chicory root tea. I quit coffee like 6 months ago, and I feel amazing being off of it. Amazing.
And we're going to talk about that because that's nutrition. And everybody knows that I am like super jammy on my bulletproof coffee, especially with the Kanye pepper I put in there because Kanye's the best and nothing else matters.
Kanye.
But
I remember when you got that mug, though. Is that still the same mug?
It's like 4 years old. I don't know if you were, yeah. And it's broke a couple times, and then it's been like golded and fixed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's pretty well. Oh, Marcello is on. I was wondering where Marcello is. So Marcello joined us a couple live streams ago, and he lives in Florida, I believe, or on the East Coast, which is super cool. And yeah, thanks for joining us, Marcello. It's I appreciate all the support and encouragement. And Mike O'Connell used to be my tape supplier when I was in packaging. And Mike, thanks for hopping on, buddy. I know you can't stay on, but I'm doing really well, and I hope everything's well with your family. And I think your sister lives in Arlington Heights, so the next time you're in Arlington, hit me up with a text, and we'll go grab some lunch, brother. Marcello is in Atlanta, Georgia. There we go. Atlanta, Georgia. I remember back in my party days, people used to say, oh, go to Atlanta because there's a lot of strip clubs. And I'm like, for a second, that sounded cool. And I was like, so I'm going to go to Atlanta just to go to like a bunch of strip clubs. I'm like, I don't know. Even at that time, I'm like, I don't know if that sounds cool or not, right?
Oh, that's funny. I love Fat Matt's in Atlanta. Their ribs are probably the best ribs I've ever had. Amazing.
You said Fat Matt's?
Fat Matt's.
Cool.
Yeah.
I never heard of that.
It's like a little hole-in-the-wall barbecue place. I think it's been there for years.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, Kasie, why don't you start us off with a quote, and we'll get this game rolling.
All right. The food you eat can either be the safest and most powerful form of medicine or the slowest form of poison. Mic drop.
Soak that one in. And welcome to this week's episode of Live Beyond Default Livestream. It's your weekly dose of personal growth. My name is Dave. I'm a realtor. I'm your host. And what else am I? I'm a public speaker. I'm a LinkedIn live streamer, and I'm just an advocate of Team Human. And today I am here with a super, super special guest, my friend. And we have lots of stories to share today. And this is Miss Kasie Kephart. Kasie, tell us what all that stuff means at the end of your name. What are all those letters?
Yes. So it means I have a master's degree. I am a licensed dietitian nutritionist. I am a certified clinical nutritionist, and I am a national board certified health and wellness coach. You think I should just change those letters and put functional medicine nutritionist so people actually know what the heck I do?
That might be good.
I'm thinking so too.
And did I get your last? It's A-R-T, art.
No, H-Heart.
Kephart, got it. Kasie Kephart. You think I would have known that after 5 or 6 years of knowing each other?
Yeah, I'm surprised you don't.
Yeah. So Kasie is a friend that I met about 5 or 6 years ago, and I was just diving into my self-improvement movement, or I've been in there for a little while. And here's what I love about Kasie is that she's willing to dive deep. She doesn't throw sprinkles on a shit show. And what I really like is she sees the best in others. And what I mean by that is I was still pretty messy when I met Kasie, and, because now I'm so perfect. I was really messy when I met Kasie, and I may have said things or done things or acted certain ways around her. And she even brought me into her Friendsgiving and different family events. But she saw beyond the surface level of Dave, and she saw the true me as I was really becoming into Epic Dave and shedding my old skin. And that's something, Kasie, I wanted to say that I really appreciated with you, that you always saw the good side of me and you stuck by me. And thank you so much for that.
Because you're a great effing person, Dave. I don't know if I could swear, but you're a great person.
Yeah, thank you so much. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about this last week. Now, we know something big here is like, we like to take responsibility for our actions and everything that we have in our life and what we don't have. So we ask the big question every single week. Is your week been epic so far? And if it hasn't, it's time to level up. It's time to level up our energy. It's time to level up our responsibility. And it's time to restart for the rest of the weekend and start serving others at the highest level that we can. Giving, right? Focusing on optimism versus pessimism. And most importantly, getting out of a victim-villain mentality, because we all do that. I even found myself earlier this week, like feeling a little bit victim-y. And I actually took that victim and I sat it down next to me on a bench, my shoe bench where I put my shoes on. And I said, you're going to stay here. You're going to have a timeout. I'm leaving for a few hours and I'm going to talk to you when I get back. You're just going to stay here and be chill, because where I'm going and what I've got going on the rest of the day, you've got no place here. And it worked, right? Like, we all get into these modes where sometimes we're not feeling good or we're feeling down and things happen. It's okay. We always know that beyond the clouds is the sun. We always know that life is going to be a roller coaster ride. And that's part of why we have Kasie on here. So what I'd love to start off with is, Kasie, did you have anything you want to share with us that happened in the last week that was really impactful in your life?
Yeah. So maybe it's not in the last week, but it's definitely in this month. And I've been really focusing on receiving. So I'm part of like the success circle where we talk about big goals, how to achieve them, things like that. And the first part of achieving your goals is learning how to receive. So receiving money, receiving compliments, receiving everything. And I've been really focusing on that. And it's funny that we've lived so long, like a long part of our lives, just saying, no, I got it. No, thanks. I got the check, or I got my own bags, because we're a strong, independent man or a strong, independent woman. And the way you get things in life is you have to be open to it, right? You have to be open-minded about it and you have to receive it. So what I've been realizing is that people like to feel needed. So why don't we let them help us with our bags? Why don't we let them help us with our business or our whatever your goal is, right? So I've had this big realization in the past couple of weeks of like, you want to feel needed. I need some help. I'm going to receive your help and you're going to benefit off of it too. Why can't this be a mutual thing instead of me feeling selfish for needing help? You know, does that make sense?
It's like Mozart to my ears. And something that we practice a lot in our mastermind, right out of the book, The 15 Commitments of Conscious Leadership, is accepting appreciation.
Yeah.
And we're really good and easy at, Eric Bell, thank you for joining us today. Love it. I haven't seen you for a while, my friend, but thank you.
Eric.
What I've recognized that it's easier for us to throw out compliments. And here's a little hack. When you throw a compliment out to somebody, instead of just saying, oh, that looks good, or hey, that was cool that you did this, like say something specific, right? Hey, I really like that bow in your hair. the color really matches your eyes and brings out your vibrance, right? Like getting something specific. And as a guy, I love complimenting other guys, right? I was like finding like the biggest, buffest, best looking dude in the room and going up to him and making friends and being like, hey man, that's a cool belt. May I go shopping with you at Nordstrom next time? Like it's funny how that works, but receiving appreciation, when you don't receive appreciation, you are denying somebody giving their gifts.
Yep.
And that's what you just said there, Kasie.
Yep.
Super, super important. And that's something for all of us to think about. Like, when in the last week did somebody give you appreciation and you said something like, oh no, it was easy.
Yeah.
Or, oh no, anybody could have done that.
Mm-hmm.
Or, hey, that's no big deal. It's like, no, it was a big deal.
Yeah.
And why are we so resistant to receiving appreciation, right? Like,
you're also putting that energy into the universe, though, of like rejection and things not flowing your way easily. So if you're putting that energy out there of resistance, why would things easily flow to you in other aspects of your life? So I feel like the first thing you can do is start accepting compliments, and that opens the door to accepting more money that will flow to you, accepting more love or business opportunities. Start with those compliments.
You know, this is now the Kasie show.
Sorry, Dave.
And I love it, right? I was just saying to Kasie beforehand, I'm like, you know, when I am in networking events now and I'm at other places, I've noticed I've just listened more. I haven't been talking, and I've just listened, answered some questions, and just really become more present. And that was amazing what you just said there. Like, if you're resisting the appreciation that's coming into you, then it's like you're throwing that vibe out to the universe, and it's almost like you're resisting any other success, which could be money or love or energy or some kind of abundance.
Yeah.
I wonder what kind of abundance is going to show up in my life today. And it's almost like you're resisting that because you're resisting the appreciation from somebody else. And yeah, that's amazing. Penelope says, this is beyond amazing. I love how some people can see our real selves before we even do. Penelope, that is super important. It was so great to see you earlier this week too. Thanks for stopping by the office. Yeah, when people see us better than we are, that's really the sign of a true leader, right? Somebody who's in the trenches, somebody who's willing to get dirty, somebody who listens to feedback, and of course, somebody who sees us better than we see ourselves. And that's amazing when that happens. So thank you for sharing that, Penelope.
I would say that about you too, Dave. Like, I was not in a good place in my life either when we first met, and you talked to me. You're like, hey, I see a lot of like self-development in you. I can't remember that first line you said, but like, you're interested in self-development. And I was like, oh, that's interesting that he picked that up. And I was like in the beginning stages of my journey, and you also saw a lot of potential in me because I was not my best self. at what, 23 I was, or something like that. I was still figuring out the ways of love, business, school, everything. So thank you.
We were such crazy kids back then.
So crazy.
I love it. So if you're just joining us, this is the Live Beyond Default live stream. Thank you for being here. We're with Kasie, and she is a nutritionist and a bunch of other letters that she's certified with. And today we're going to talk a little bit about what does nutrition mean to you? Why does nutrition matter? And of course, how do we incorporate healthy and sustainable nutrition into our daily lives? There's so much information out there. What's right and what's wrong. And I'm going to start off by just making a blanket statement. And it could be taken as hedonistic at times. My thought is that no matter what you're eating, your body will give you the signal if it's working well with your body or not. When it comes down to it, you're going number one, you're going number two, you're sleeping, you're how does your belly feel? Does your face kind of puff up, right? Do you have a funny taste in the back of your mouth? Like all these little things that your body functionally does on a daily basis will be affected by what you eat and what you drink, no matter what. And really just recognizing that there's not one diet. We're not all about like being dogmatic here and, oh, this is the right way and you've got to do this. We're all about sharing information, and we're all about sharing what we do. And of course, you got to find what's right for you, because we're not telling anybody what to do. We're just sharing. So let's start off with that. Kasie, what does nutrition mean to you?
To me, the first thing that comes to mind is thriving in life, right? And I want to say that most of us, especially if we live in America, we do not know our optimal selves and how we can function on optimal nutrition. So we are so used to the normal of, and we're going to talk about poop here a little bit, of irregular bowels. We are so used to having gas. We're so used to feeling sluggish when we wake up that we just start to think that this is normal. This is, I need a pot of coffee before I talk to somebody, that I need to have my 1 p.m. poop. I need to go into the other room and fart. Like, that is not normal, people. And I don't see why we settle for that when we can eat so much better and feel so much better and achieve so much more because we're nourishing our bodies. I think that was a way more answer than you were looking for, but
you know what? I love it. And I've noticed when I've made shifts in my diet, what happens is that I recognize that my norm wasn't very good. And that's just what you brought up there. Like, we get used to things, right? We get used to our significant other doing this. We get used to our kid doing this. We get used to coworkers. We get used to clients doing this and acting this way. And unless we take the opportunity, unless we live beyond default and pattern break what we're doing, not for an hour or a day, for a week or two, you start to notice differences. You feel different, right? Like what Kasie was saying. Maybe it's you have a more regular bowel movement. Maybe you sleep better. Maybe your pee doesn't smell, of course, except when you eat asparagus, right?
Or beets.
Or beets. Yeah, I love it. Well, you got to walk out of the room to fart. And it's like, that's not really normal. I remember, this is kind of funny. I remember 4 or 5 years ago, I was drinking this whey protein regularly.
Oh, I remember that.
And I was like beefing all day. And I had people literally come up to me and they're like, Dave, like, what's up? And I'm like, I don't know. And they're like, yeah, you got to do something about that. And it was like, until somebody said something, I'm like, oh, I just thought that's like normal because I'm working out and then I'm eating this whey protein. And I recognize that the milk, the milk protein and the milk sugar was just destroying me when it got in me. Which is why I eat very little bit of cheese, maybe once or twice a week, and it's a certain kind of cheese. Or I have my ghee, which is clarified butter, and most of the milk sugar and the milk protein, right, lactose, lactase, is taken out of there. So it's like almost considered dairy free, unless you're vegan, then it's right for that purpose of diet. It's not going to serve. But it's interesting how when we start just making little changes, we recognize like, wow, this is how I was living, and then taking that into other areas. But so nutrition, nutrition means to me that food is energy and food is fuel. And like anything,
Yep.
too much of it or the wrong kind brings you down. Everybody knows that I'm a regular faster. So I'm fasting now like twice a month, 24 to 48 hours. A couple months ago, I did a 97-hour water-only fast.
Okay.
And fasting works for me, right? I'm not a doctor. I'm not telling you how to live your life, but it works for me. And you'll read, Upton Sinclair did a piece called The Fasting Cure. Even Wallace D. Wattles from The Science of Getting Rich, he had another book about eating. And there's a lot of buzz out there that shows, and this kind of goes against the grain, but it shows that, like, you know what? We're not getting all of our energy from food. We're getting it from the sun. We're getting it from deep breathing. We're getting it from sleep. And really, so often, as Kasie said, in America, what our habits are is the food is actually not feeding us. It's actually hindering us and being a detriment to staying on path of being focused and energy rich. And
brain fog is real. It is real, and it sucks when you eat something and you can't focus and you feel like you have like a little bit of ADD or ADHD, or you can't remember the sentence or this thought in your head. That directly relates to food. It relates to lack of sleep too, but food is probably the number one thing that relates to brain fog. So if you're feeling like cloudy up here, if you're feeling like you're just not like sharp like you usually are, think about what you ate. Think about how much sugar you ate. Think about the quality of food you ate. But one thing I wanted to mention, Dave, when you were talking about fasting is, do you remember when we did our 72-hour fast? I think that was our first fast ever for both of us. And we went to a Blackhawks game and we were both so cold because we haven't eaten in like 48 hours or something like that.
You know, I didn't remember that that's when it was during that game. Yeah, we were cold.
We were so cold.
Besides the fact that it was winter, right? Going to a Chicago Blackhawks game. But yeah, you do get cold from fasting. That's so cool that you remember that. Again, we were such crazy kids back then. It's so funny. You're like, and it just makes me laugh. It's like, oh, what did you just do this weekend? Well, me and my friend, we were fasting for 72 hours. Hey, that sounds really cool. Can I be a part of your cool kids group too? Right?
We were trying to like keep each other company so we didn't eat dinner or didn't eat something. And I was a barista at the coffee shop at the time and we're making sandwiches. I'm like, oh my God, he wouldn't know if I just ate this bologna right now. He wouldn't know if I just ate this piece of cheese.
Yeah, that's super cool. Thanks for sharing that. We got a few shares here. Marcello says, today it's Thankful Thursday. Yes, it is. Eric says, I definitely agree. If we can support our friends at birthdays and baby showers, it would be amazing to support their goals and invest in their businesses and endeavors. Yep, that's giving appreciation and receiving appreciation. Thank you, Eric. Joni Davidson, a new viewer, says, so powerful. Something that we said before. Thank you, Joni, for showing up. LinkedIn user, that's a good point about food. I have found out more of that as I get older, but some bad foods are so good. You do have to monitor some of the things you put in your body because it affects your mind. Okay, that's Brandon. We'll get back to that. Bye, followers, primes, and viewers. And you know what's cool about this guy coming on here? Let's give him some love. He's coming from Twitch. I don't know if anyone can see it. And he's selling something. Dude, we love when you sell stuff, man. I'm going to give you your own Shopify. And we are going to set you up. We're going to throw abundance to you big time. So let's talk back about what Brandon said, because some of the bad foods are so good. And the funny thing is they're manufactured that way. They're made that way. They're made to spike your dopamine, get you all jacked up, and then crash so you want to eat more, right? We like to say that, the system defends itself. And that's just how it is. And yeah, they taste really good. And that brings up something too that I love talking about, and I know that Kasie's a badass when it comes to this realm, is it's embracing delayed gratification. So when we embrace delayed gratification, usually it's better for us in the long run. Usually the fun dopamine spike up front is not serving us later on. You could think about it with spending money. Here's a big one. You can think about it after you have sex with your husband, wife, or significant other. How do you feel after you make love with your significant other? Do you feel better or do you feel kind of empty? Do you want to talk with them and connect more with them afterwards? Or do you want to go get on with your business, right? Like that's a true sign of like what you're aligned with, just like spending money or eating food or trying something new that is like a big spike. And we're not saying don't have fun. What we like to say is fun with purpose. There's reasons to do some things, and shit, sometimes you just got to blow off some steam, and that's cool too, right? Like we want to have fun. We want to enjoy. We also want to recognize that so often when we're not feeling so good, we go towards that food. We go to the food that's not so good for us. Yeah. Or we go to our social media right away. Oh, dopamine hit, right? Or we go and buy something on Amazon. It becomes a pattern. So
two things with that. One, if you haven't read the book Dopamine Nation, please do. It is an amazing book, and it will start making you realize what you do to get that instant dopamine boost. And it's things that we really don't think of, but we do so habitually. Definitely go and read that or listen to it on audio. The second thing is, I agree. Bad foods are really good. And because of that dopamine, we want to eat it more and more and more always. The thing I've started saying to myself, though, is what's the cost of doing this? What's this going to cost me? If I eat, let's say, a donut, I'm not a donut person, but a lot of people are. It's going to cost me a sugar hangover the next day. It's going to cost me brain fog. It's going to cost me canceling plans on my friends because all I want to do is sit on my couch. It's going to cost me productivity the next day. It's going to cost me irregular bowels, gas, bloating, maybe a headache. Like there's a lot of things it's going to cost me. And then I start to think of like, what are the benefits of this? And there's one, it tastes good. So I'm kind of weighing out the pros and cons, and 9 times out of 10, I won't eat it. That 9th or 10th time, that dopamine will get the best of me. And that's human, right? It just means that we're needing something. We need to fill a void. We need to figure out what that void is that we're filling with eating that donut. It's like nutrition psychology, and there's a whole realm of it. But the first step is just being mindful. Why are you eating this? What are the costs and what are the benefits?
And there is always a cost to it.
Always.
Did we ever wonder why this piece of food was so cheap? Because it's been on a production line and manufactured to the point where they got it down. I mean, even just saying like food is manufactured sounds shitty to me. It's funny too when you swear and it comes up on the LinkedIn captions. They put like little stars in there. They do, yeah. I mean, we only drop a swear or two here and there, but it's kind of funny when I go back and look. I'm like, oh, that's funny.
We're all adult here.
Takes that out, but yeah, there's a cost to it. And like you ever wonder why like 2 chicken sandwiches cost $5.99 through the drive-through? Yeah,
steak being $8.99 at a steakhouse. That's wrong. That should not be happening.
Yeah, and I truly believe that we can all, just by little shifts, like we can eat well and not have to spend a lot of money. And like Kasie said, think about the long-term costs, right? You feel like crap later or the next day, which means you're not going to show up for your clients or that new prospect that wants to work with you that's going to bring in more money, right? Say it again. What was the last thing you said?
Sorry, I froze. Yeah, I said, or yourself. You're not going to show up for yourself and your self-care that day. Your routines.
Yeah. So there is a cost with that. And really just making one shift. And I understand kids, it's expensive, right? Maybe you're not spending $9 on a dozen eggs because you're buying 5 dozen a week. And then you're like, oh God, just my eggs were $50, right? Like it's a balance. It's just making small shifts.
Mhm.
And it's really just being aware. Kasie said something too about how you feel. And when I'm in prime shape and clothes are fitting and I don't feel inflamed and I really feel like focused and energy rich, I always say that nothing tastes better than thin. And that's not to drop anything if we're overweight or maybe we don't look the way that we want to look. It's not to judge or pick on anybody. It's to say that when I am thin and I am lean and I'm putting energy rich foods that allow me and cultivate thriving, I just feel better all the way around. There's no
Mhm.
doubt about that. Um,
Yeah. And for some people, it might be because what I'm assuming you're saying when you say thin is you feel healthy at that body weight, right? At that muscle tone.
yes.
So for
Yes.
somebody else, it would be nothing feels better than feeling healthy. Nothing feels better than being my optimal weight. Nothing feels better than thriving in X, Y, and Z. Because a lot of times thin can, at least for women, thin can be a very like triggering word or a very like surface level word. And so whatever word works for you, use that. And for Dave, it's thin. He feels great being thin and a certain muscular tone. But we all have a ideal body weight, right? Like we all have this ideal body weight where we feel healthy at. So if you go below or above it, we're like, oh, something's not right. I'm not fitting in my jeans right, or I look more inflamed, or I'm too skinny and I feel weak.
Mm.
Um, so find that set body weight. And what I always love saying is your set body weight isn't necessarily the ideal body weight that you want to be in. Our bodies have the set body weight where we feel healthy and have optimal energy. And then where we want to be is where the media tells us we should be. And that's
Mm.
our vision of it. I would love to be a size 0 to 2. My body's not comfortable at that, nor is it easy to get at that space. My body's comfortable at jean sizes a little above that, and that's fine. But we need to be cognizant of that as well. I'm going on a tangent.
I like that. And I like also how you shared that thin may have a negative connotation to some and find the word that's right for you. So I like
Mhm.
how you reframed what I said because for me, that word works. And it's not projecting it on anybody
Right.
else. Find the word that works for you.
Mhm.
There's no pressure. I mean, at the end of the day, here is a big like vision, right? And what I mean by big vision is when we have decision fatigue because we've been fired at all single day, right? Decision fatigue. Um, our decisions later in the day are not as good. So what happens is we start to make decisions that don't serve us. And when that happens, we like to connect to the big vision. And what I mean by that is we embrace the suck, we embrace the mundane, we recognize that things are going to be hard at times. And when you connect with that bigger vision, maybe of, hey, I want to have more energy to play with my kids. Hey, I want to be a better fourth grade teacher. Hey, I want to be better at sales and exceed my goal this year because I'm so new in sales. Um, Making 8-year-old you and 80-year-old you proud. And that's something that I connect with when I don't feel like doing something.
Yeah.
And I apply that with food. When I'm about to eat something, I'm like, is this going to make 8-year-old Dave? And is it going to make 80-year-old Dave proud? Well, I actually like to say 10-year-old and 110-year-old Dave because I'm going to live to 110. But you get the point, right? 8 and 80 just kind of flows well. So That's what I usually connect with. So thank you for that, Kasie. Cool. We have a question here from Ratka. I would love to hear Kasie talk more about shifting away from coffee, challenges and how to overcome them, how to handle the social part of coffee quitting. I love meeting people at coffee shops. That is a great question. Kasie, you take that one.
Hi, Radka. I miss talking to you. I hope you're doing well. So I'm sure you've heard me say in the beginning of this live that I've been off coffee for about 6 months now. I started in the last week of December. So a little backstory, I did it because I have a big sensitivity to coffee. It was causing gas, bloating, brain fog, irritable bowels, things like that. And I wanted to take a nap at 2:00 and I always reached for the coffee. So I knew it was affecting my energy levels as well. So, the challenges were quitting for the first one was quitting. So it took about 2 weeks to feel energized, to feel, I want to say whole again in the morning, because that's your routine, right? Is to just drink this warm cup of coffee. And then it was, going to coffee shops and not ordering a coffee. But just like with anything that you've overcome, Radka, it gets easier and easier as you do it. So the first thing I had to do to make this easy for me was to find a replacement for coffee. I was like, oh, cool. I'll just try some tea in the morning or some warm water with lemon in it. Because really it's the warm sensation in the morning that I like that makes me feel good inside. And tea just wasn't doing it for me. It was too watery, which sounds weird because it's water, right? But I wanted something more dense. So I started reading about it, and it was roasted chicory root tea and roasted dandelion root tea. And you put that in a kettle, you let it steep, and it tastes like coffee. And let me tell you, it tastes like coffee and it looks like coffee. It's a little more bitter. And Radka, I think you like something in your coffee. I can't remember. For people who are like, how do you know that? I used to be Radka's barista. So that's why I'm saying this, but I could be wrong. So you can put something in that as well. But for me, it replaced the actual coffee and tricked my body and mind that I was actually drinking coffee. And I found now that I'm a little sensitive to dandelion roots. So I just put I just steep chicory in my kettle and it still tastes like coffee. I wish I could show you. I don't have any left in my cup, but I would find a replacement for coffee that smells, acts, and looks like it for you. And if that's tea or if that's what I just said of chicory, go for it. With the social part of coffee and going to the coffee shops, that just becomes easy, Radka. It's just, hey, I'm ordering tea today. I'm going to order a matcha or whatever. You find something else that you like. So it's a mindset thing. This whole thing is a mindset thing and just getting on board with it. I'd be curious why you want to quit coffee, if you're finding anything interesting when you drink coffee or reactive. But I don't know if I'll ever go back to coffee. I would love an espresso every now and again, which I might do and see how that reacts to me. But I am so fine not drinking it and so fine having stable energy levels all day.
I love that. It's a great share. It's amazing how long those lines are at the Starbucks drive-thru. Yeah. It's almost like not even having that coffee shop experience of connecting and conversation and collaboration and being creative with others. It's almost like I see that line. I'm just like, oh, there's just that line. And then stick the arm out, get your fix, and drive away. It's like,
it's whoa. A dopamine boost.
Wow. It's like, yeah. And my bulletproof coffee is the same way for me, right? It's a dopamine boost. Mm-hmm. I have a super ritual around this. Like I invite people over, come on by 6:30. Like I'm going to make your bulletproof coffee for you. I'm going to show you how I do it. Right. Yeah. And I think too that like anything, caffeine will affect your hormones, and too much of it can affect your hormones. Um,
One more thing
so
about coffee, Dave. Hold on. Nutrition wise, if you're going to drink coffee, I would recommend an organic blend just because a coffee bean is the most oversprayed bean there is in America. So buy a good quality of it and save yourself the pesticides and all the toxins that you're going to be drinking. So that gas station coffee that you may be getting for $1.50 or maybe $2 now with inflation may not be the best quality that you can get.
yeah, that's a good point. I like that. You know, it's a good point too. When you look at the contrast of Kasie's hair and my hair next to each other, right? It's like
You can have some because I have a lot of it.
you have a lot of it. I'm just looking, I'm like, God, I got such a shine. I'm like, I'm just blasting under the lights here. And there's Kasie. She's got this like glow behind her. She has this long, flowy hair. I'm like, yeah, cool. It's good to check in. So if you're just joining us, we're in the last maybe 10, 15 minutes of Live Beyond Default Livestream. It's episode number 23. I want to thank everybody for sharing and investing your time. And maybe you're listening over the weekend to the replay while you're driving. Maybe you have it on in the background at work, or maybe you have it on while you're working out or doing the dishes. Like, that's the cool thing about our shows. You don't necessarily have to watch it. Although today there's probably a lot more good lookingness to see on the screen compared to normal. Oh no, I had Michelle Norton on for a couple of weeks too. So that was good too. But most importantly, keep it on in the background. It is your weekly dose of personal growth. And I want to share something from Mateos Hulis. And here's a new live streamer or a new watcher and encourager and supporter. And he says, of course, your stream has been very helpful. I created several lollipop moments this past week. My favorite was with a cab driver on a very quick trip. For one, he was thankful that I flagged him down. And after the ride began, I told him, in case no one has told you today, I appreciate you. And the gentleman's attitude and facial appearance, even behind his mask, completely changed. So like, think about that. Mateos got into a car, a cab. The cabbie was super happy that he flagged him down. And he said to him, in case no one told you today, I appreciate you. Like, how simple was that to say? And what a lollipop moment that he created for that cab driver. And I'll bet you that that cab driver went on and shared some love and happiness. And maybe he listened to somebody else who got in the cab that maybe isn't in a great mood, and somebody needed an ear. And maybe that cabbie provided that ear later on in the day because of what Mateo said. So thank you so much for sharing that. You can always DM me in LinkedIn, and you can email me, dave@davelosavio.com. Radka says, awesome insight, Kasie. Thank you. Kasie, give us the 60 or 90 second. This is usually in the beginning of the show, and we just started jamming and getting into it. Give us the 60 or 90 second of why you're doing what you're doing today.
Yeah.
What got you into this?
Yeah. Honestly, feeling awful myself. So I remember being 17. I was in the parking lot of McHenry County College, for all of you people in the northwest suburbs. And I was hunched over in my then boyfriend's car, just in excruciating stomach pain. And I was just eating a squash. Random, right? A squash. But I was like, I can't deal with the stomach ache anymore. Like, they're getting worse and worse and worse no matter what I eat, no matter if I eat a burger, a salad, a squash, a strawberry. I went to the doctors, and we did an endoscopy, and they found out I had celiac disease. So I had to learn about celiac disease. And back then there wasn't much information about gluten-free. It wasn't in the restaurants, in the stores, things like that. The things that were in the stores were awful, like paper, cardboard, awful. And And so I started eating healthy, right? I started eating oatmeals and salads and grains and rice and beans and all of these things that are said are healthy for us. And I started to feel like worse and worse, and my sleep sucked, and my gas, my bloating, my brain fog. I couldn't complete my sentences. And I was like, why? I'm eating oatmeal 3 times a day. I'm eating salads. I'm eating nuts, seeds, dark chocolate. Come to find out, for autoimmune people, those aren't the right foods to eat. And I had to learn that the hard way. And once I learned that through the autoimmune protocol, and I started feeling so much better and so much better. And this was after I already developed another autoimmune disease, which is Hashimoto's, and I developed Lyme disease, all from an inflamed body. And so I started eating autoimmune protocol, and I started feeling better again. I could complete my sentences. I could stop going out of the room to fart. I could sleep better. And I realized I needed to prioritize my food, but I also needed to prioritize my stress levels, working 3 jobs, going to college, living with a toxic boyfriend, doing all of the things wasn't going to get me in remission of my autoimmune disease. I needed to be mindful of the toxins that I was putting on my body, like deodorants and hair care products, and the environments I was in, and all of the lifestyle factors I needed to do to clean up my environment too was also very important to the diet. And once I started feeling better, I started hearing other women with autoimmune disease saying that they feel awful too, and they're on this medication, and my doctor can't find anything on the labs, and they said I need to manage it for the rest of my life, and this is just how it's going to be. And it was that victim mentality again, right, Dave? We go back to that victim. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm trusting my doctor. I just need to live with this. And no, you don't have to live with this. Like, living with an autoimmune disease is optional. It is not necessary. And so I developed my 12-week program on the autoimmune protocol, but also holding your hand to be with this journey and to help you troubleshoot and to help you get to that next level and to help you change your mindset around this diet. And in the end, you find your optimal diet for you by reintroducing foods, by being mindful of your body and listening to it and knowing what your body likes and what heals your body. So that's that in a nutshell, Dave.
You felt like shit.
Yes.
You wanted to make some changes. You were thinking you were making changes because of what the information is out there. And then it sounds like you aligned with what your body liked and wanted to receive by stripping away certain foods and getting down to the basics and then reintroducing. And whether it's autoimmune, I've done that before on a 30-day paleo reset, where you're only eating a certain type of food and it's so baseline. And then after 30 days, it's super cool because then you introduce one thing on this next level that you could be reacting to according to paleo or not. But the thing is, you introduce it for 2 or 3 days and you see how you feel. And after that first day, if you start to feel not good, you don't eat it again.
Yep.
And you wait another day and then you reintroduce something else. So it's kind of like stripping down everything. You're creating that space and then you're reintroducing certain foods. And that's great. Like, not everything is right for everybody. Now, Allison here, Allison, it was so great to see you earlier this week. Allison says, what are the best resources you used to help you with your autoimmune protocol?
Yeah. So Dr. Sarah Valentine is like founder, researcher of the autoimmune protocol, and she has a huge database as a website to find every reasoning for everything that you could ever want about the autoimmune protocol. So I would definitely read her books, get her a cookbook. if you yourself or you know somebody with an autoimmune disease and you want more accountability and support and one-on-one coaching with it, that's exactly what I do. And I have a public Facebook community with knowledge, with information. I have a web class, masterclass that you can watch program. So feel free to direct message me if you want to know more about anything. I'm happy to refer you to the source that you need.
Love that, Kasie. And I think we're answering that question now of how do we incorporate healthy nutrition into our daily lives. I think some of it is definitely stripping away. Some of it's kind of logical, right? Like if there's ingredients that you can't read and you can't pronounce, and there's a lot of ingredients, it's probably not the best for you. And I get it with kids. I don't have kids. I get it though. Like kids are tough and we want to give them something and make them feel better. And again, the idea is like, are we going to feel better now? And are we going to feel bad in an hour or two and be like reactive to how people are acting, not just our kids, but ourselves, right? Or other family members? Or are we going to be proactive and be leaders? And even if we've done things maybe not the best way, shit, I was drinking and drugging for like 20 plus years, right? Making money, spending money, sleeping around all over the place. Like it was nuts. And I made that shift 7.5 years ago, right? I made that shift. I took that first step to live beyond default. And I started my journey of creating a life of design versus a life of neglect to make that 8-year-old Dave and 80-year-old Dave proud. I started doing that. And it just takes one little shift. And we love to say here, we're all doing the best we can with what we have at this time. Always. We really, really are. And when we show up with to ourselves with compassion and with love, and at the same time, recognizing that we got to be poked.
Yeah.
Poked might be coaching with Kasie. Poked might be coaching with Dave. Poked might be, I poke people in real estate all the time, right? My buyer clients tease me. They're like, you keep telling me not to buy these houses. I'm like, yeah, I'm telling you not to buy these places. I'm not telling you to buy. I'm telling you not to, because when you go for the no, the yes pops up. But it's a good, right? That's like a theory that I have. So like start going for the no on things and just challenging things up front. And then like when the yes is there, it'll really be a hell yes. And it could be with food. It could be with someone you're hanging out with. It could be with how you're speaking to your kid. It could be with a client. In so many ways, nutrition will be a reflection, as Kasie said, of how we are feeling inside, and it'll feed upon that. So often we are feeling void of things, and we want to feel better, and we want to fill that void, not just the physical void, but really the emotional void.
Yeah.
And we do that with food. And again, it's okay. It's okay. There's no right or wrong. We're not pointing fingers. It's just that we know it's progress over perfection. We know that we can just do a little bit better every day. And look what Kasie did over the years. And she did that at 17, 18, 19, right? It took me shifts until I was in my 40s. And then I recognized like, this lifestyle is not really working. Like it's fun. It looks cool, but it's not. So I think that's great. And Kasie, do you have anything else you want to say in general? You want to say something about, we talked about coffee. We talked about fasting a little bit. We talked about what you do. Anything else you want to close out with, right? We've been on for an hour and I could talk with you all day.
I know.
But what are your thoughts to close out here?
Yeah, I think the moral of this whole live that we did is be mindful of your body. Start understanding your body and what the food is, how the food is affecting you, but also why you're eating this food. Is it an emotional void? Is it a physical void? Is it some other type of void? Like, just start thinking about that. And we often don't think, we just do, right? Because it's habitual. It's in our subconscious just to do, because we've been doing it for years and years and years. Let's break that cycle. Let's start thinking about these things. And I think it will open up some awareness for you on diet, but emotional and psychological and physical, and open so many doors. So be mindful of your body and the food you put into it.
And I don't want to drop my mic. But what I am going to do, put on a little bit of music here to close out, right? And I want to thank everybody again for joining us on this. Eric says, go for the no. You might get a hell yes. Love it. Yeah, we're all about going for the no, really just to create the space. And think about that when it comes to your nutrition, right? Like, the next time you're going to eat something, start off with the no. Just be like, no. Yeah. I don't want to eat that. And why am I saying that? And then you might be able to recognize and be like, oh, you know what? No, that is okay for me. Yeah. I am going to keep eating that. And it doesn't mean that we're not going to splurge, right? We are living life. It's, again, dogmatic, robotic. This is right. This is wrong. That's not how we live here at all. We live beyond default. We live beyond what the norm is. And I don't know, looks like some things got turned off here. Kasie?
I'm here.
You still see me? Okay, good.
Yeah, you're good.
So it's like my monitor just came off. So what we're going to do now is we're going to share some gratitude, right? We like to give thanks and gratitude in the beginning and give thanks and gratitude in the end. And I'm sharing with everybody now, but thank you all for joining us, for sharing your time and investing your time. And let's make the rest of the week epic, right? We are built to thrive, not survive. We are built to respond, not react. We are built to live beyond default. And the challenge is that if we're not slowly progressing every single day, we're actually going backwards because there's no standing still. The system is pushing us back the other way. Yeah. And Kasie knows this. There's really no standing still. You're either going forwards or you're going backwards. So I challenge you all as your accountability partner to live beyond default this weekend. Kasie, thank you so much for being a part of this show, for being a part of my life, and encouraging your clients and your friends who are having challenges and aren't feeling good. You're challenging them to become better. You're challenging them and seeing them better than they see themselves. And that means so much that you're doing that. So thank you again for all that you do.
Thanks, Dave. I really enjoyed this and your energy.
You are welcome. All right, everybody. And as we like to end, until next time, make it a great week. We'll see you next week. I will be on next Thursday at 8:30 Central Standard Time. You'll all get invites. You'll all get emails. Thank you again. All right. Thank you, Kasie.
Thanks, Dave. This was fun. I'll see you in a bit.
I'll see you soon. Talk.
Bye.
Bye.